Hello everybody and welcome to another top 5 list. This week we are continuing my trilogy of event-based top 5 lists. Last week we did the top 5 thwart events. This week we are doing the top 5 attack events. So these are events that have attack traits on them. And I meant to say this in the last video, but I did not want to necessarily initially go right into hero cards, hero specific cards, because I felt like that was kind of taken away from the list a little bit, because it's like, okay, well, yeah, if you're playing Wolverine, then yeah, of course that's a really cool event. But what I kind of discovered was that the really juicy cards, the cards that really make me want to play heroes, are these cards. And so while I will be showing off cards that can fit into any deck, in fact, spoiler alert, my favorite thwart event is a aspect card. As much as I want to highlight those cards, I definitely know that the cards that really speak to me are going to be the hero identity cards, because those, like I said, those are the cards that make me want to play those heroes. And my number 5 is Dropkick. It is a 3-cost event, attack, hero action attack. Deal 4 damage to an enemy if you paid for this event using only strength resources. Stun that enemy and draw a card. As an aggression card, I guess that's also important, it's an aggression card. But as an aggression card, any kind of card draw is great, stunning an enemy is great, and this came out of the Hulk deck where his entire kit minus 1 card had the strength resource on it. In fact, he had a resource card that had 3 strength resources on it, or physical resources, whatever they're called. This is just a synonymous card. It's been around since the very beginning of the game, minus a couple of months. But it's been a standby. It's one of those cards that's always around. I'm actually surprised it hasn't been reprinted in something. I suppose it couldn't have been in the Colossus deck, because Colossus was a campaign box hero. But I'm just surprised that this has not seen reprint somewhere, because it's just so good. Yes, you are dealing 4 damage. You're kind of under right there. But the ability for aggression to have some card draw, not to mention adding a status counter, is just so much fun, and that's why it makes it into the top 5 attack events for me. Next up, we have another aspect card, and this one jumped out at me because it is a leadership card, and that is Go All Out. A 2-cost event in leadership. It is attack traded with the requirement of an energy resource, so while paying for this card, you have to be able to meet the requirement of spending at least 1 energy resource to play this card. And then it has a hero action of Exhaust. Your hero deal damage to an enemy equal to the total of your hero's thwart, attack, and defense values. So in heroes that want to bump up their own stats, give +1 across the board, or build up a specific basic power, this can be extremely powerful. The base value, I would say, with most heroes is, I suppose it would be 6 across all the stats. So 2 for 6 is not great, but anytime you can bump those up or anything, it just becomes better and better and better. And as a leadership card, especially because leadership is the place that will augment with your stats, like Moxie, or there's another card that does it. Like Moxie's on the form change, there's a different card that just basically says pick a character or pick a player or whatever, and bump up all their stats by 1 across the board. But yeah, just overall, this is such a unique card that and not to mention the fact that the art is like a Kamehameha blast. I just love this card, and it is a reason why I want to play leadership. When the option comes by, I'm like, oh yeah, let's put Ironheart into leadership. Let's put Cable. Cable has been able to rock this. Once he gets the transmode virus side scheme into the victory display, he just goes wild here. And that's why it is my number 4. Next up, we have my number 3, which is coming out of the Wolverine pack, and that is Berserker Barrage. A 2-cost event, attack traded. Hero action attack. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. If this attack defeats an enemy, you may take 2 damage, repeat this ability. So, very similar to, I guess it's very similar to Dropkick, but also very similar to some of the thwart cards I was talking about last week. This is, at a baseline, actually a fairly low amount of damage. 2 for 4 is not great. But the fact that if you defeat the enemy, Wolverine wants to take damage. He has his regeneration ability, so he'll gain life, he'll gain hit points back. But to be able to just put 2 damage on him and deal 4 more damage means that you are potentially dealing 8 to 12 damage across several bodies. You get the right amount of minions into play in multiplayer, and suddenly he just goes ham. He takes them all out, and it's just great. And it's so indicative of Wolverine. And it's not the best card in the game, obviously, and it has its flaws, and sometimes it's just not the time for Berserker Barrage. But when you get to really just pop off with it, you really like. Sorry, I had not like us run through my head real quick, and that would have not been appropriate. But yeah, when you get to pop up and show them, you get to pop up and show them. And yeah, I just love Berserker Barrage, and that's why it is my number 3. Next up, we have my number 2, which gets a huge amount of boost just from the art, and that is Ghost Kick out of the Ghost Spider pack. So it is a 2-cost event, attack traded with the hero response attack. After Ghost Spider uses a basic power, deals 6 damage to an enemy, max 1 per basic power use. So what I love about this is, first of all, it has a hero response. Ghost Spider cares about response cards. But for just the cost of using a basic power, whether that be defending, which is the one that I don't think people think about enough, thwarting, or attacking, you can get this in, deal 6 damage. It reminds me an awful lot of Pitchback, but specifically for Ghost Spider. But once again, the fact that it's a hero response, the fact that it can be used during the villain phase means that this is a very tricksy card, and I think it actually gets far more use than it looks like on the surface, because in any other hero, this would just be like, okay, so I make a basic attack and then I deal 6 damage. Cool. But when you get to defend and ready Ghost Spider back up and deal 6 damage, it's just like you feel like an all-star. And that's just great. And I don't even know if there's really much more to say about Ghost Kick other than the fact that I love the art. I love some of the art from the Ghost Spider pack. Like, they just get I think this is comic book art, but they just get the right look for Ghost Spider, and the fact that this kind of like shows her in motion just how rapidly she can go through ghost kicking, it's great, and I love it, and this is so synergistic with what she wants to do, and it just makes me happy every time I get to do it. And finally, my number 1 is out of Scarlet Witch, and that is the 3-cost event Molecular Decay, which is a attack and spell traded card. It is a hero action attack, deal 5 damage to an enemy, discard the top 2 cards of the encounter deck. For each boost icon discarded this way, deal an additional damage to that enemy. This got me into trouble with Batroc a couple weeks ago, where on the first stage I dealt 9 damage, but overall, this is, and I'm surprised I actually don't have it. I think it's of note, Hammer Throw did not make this list out of the Thor pack. And I love Hammer Throw. I love Havetti out of the Valkyrie pack. But they, like, wow, I almost feel like I could redo my list here. This is so subjective. No, I love the other cards you already listed. But Molecular Decay is the creme de la creme of attack events for me. It starts off as dealing 5 damage, which is below curve for 3, but the fact that it just suddenly bumps up super fast. You get the right scenario, and I haven't done this before, but in the right scenario, this could deal 10 or 11 damage, and that's incredible. Like, this will just chop down a villain. It's one of those cards, like playing with Scarlet Witch is so exhilarating because you can't just math out your turns. And so in the closing moments, when you want to take out the villain, you can go, I got Molecular Decay. This could just defeat the villain right here, right now. Like, we need to close that gap. We need to deal 8 damage. This could do it very easily. We need to do that 12 damage. This could get us very, very close. So I'm going to go first. We're going to do this, and we're going to spin the wheel, see how it goes. Yeah, Molecular Decay is just, I love it so much. It's always a story maker. When it only deals 5 damage, that's a story. We thought we were going to go big, and it only dealt 5 damage. But when it goes big, and you're like, I dealt 9, I dealt 10, I dealt 11 damage, you remember that. And I remember that even though I lost immensely against Batroc my first go, Molecular Decay was right there, taking out the first stage of Batroc, bringing us to the next level of the main scheme, advancing us to the next main scheme. Like, it's a story maker, and that's why it is my number 1. But I want to know, in 2025, what is your favorite attack event? And in 2026, if we return back to this topic, I bet we're going to have some different answers. But for now, this is the list, and I want to know your list, or I want to know your favorite event. You don't have to go out and make a list. If you want to, do that. But until next time, when we talk about defense events, I thank you for your time and have a great day.